Hello, good people of the OEW. Now, some of you saw Sunday that I was part of Paul Slater's cesspool segment. And, well, I didn't get in everything I wanted to say because LBA decided to come out and rudely interrupt me, which erupted into a brawl. Now, why is that? Was he afraid some truths were going to get out? Well, let's talk about them. LBA, you painted this picture like I'm just such a horrible person because you paid for tier. Yeah, you did. But money doesn't sway my opinions about people. Money doesn't buy you championships. Now, I don't believe for a second that you spent $8,500 of your own money. Because when you went on a rant to my former business partner, you said it was around $700 to $800. So you blew that number up to try to make you come out the victim. Secondly, you said you weren't good enough. So I thought you weren't good enough. Funny how you try to place the blame on me. And since you want to drag people in who don't have nothing to do with what's going on between you and I, you keep talking about me and SMF. Let me let you in on a little secret. There is no me and SMF, and there never will be again from that slimy, backstabbing son of a bitch. But that's not where I'm focusing. Let's focus on you, Walmart branded ransom white falcon. You didn't tell the people how when we chose the world champion to be Josh Poffo, you wanted to rage quit and pick up half the sim. Half the sim you built. But you forgot one thing. You were the one thing you didn't tell people is how excited you were for this project. How excited you were for the return of action-packed wrestling. Now you're not fooling no one and you can't fool me. Because I know, I can tell it within your voice how excited you were. But then, as soon as you were off voice and you started typing words, you were a completely different person. Then, let's skip ahead a little bit. We had some problems with the press conference where things didn't go right. Okay, we had an exhibition show. And we drew at least 40 to 50 people that weren't APW roster members, mind you. And then we got underway. But something was amiss in your story, wasn't it? You and another roster member kept having problems after problems after problems. And I covered for you. I didn't tell him what was really going on. But you knew all along, didn't you? And that's why she was at your place rather than his. Or at some photo shoot. And then you say that you quit APW. Let's be honest, Luca. You tried to play the victim because the person you were having problems with, you kept muting them so they couldn't respond to you, didn't you? You kept hitting that block button and unblocking them, so when you had the logs, they were manipulated to your favor. And when we got the full story from that person, and when we put the pieces together that were missing, that's when it all started to come together. You formulated a little plot to try to get rid of them. And then it happened. The day, the final, and then it happened. You wanted to resign from APW on December 1st, 2023, because we were getting closer to season's beatings, and you didn't want to look like a fool just because you weren't getting a world title. And mind you, we were in the old mill in Blackburn at that point. We were doing fairly well. But you couldn't keep your head on straight. Then let's move to the real reason, the final nail in the coffin again. When you partnered someone in the middle of a show, backstage, right in front of her ex, to cause even more problems and piss them off. And yet you say he was the one playing games. Well, let me tell you something, a fart in the wind. I put 2 and 2 together, and you were the one playing games. So when the decision was made, even though I tried to be sympathetic, I really did. I really tried to be sympathetic, Luca. But of course, we all know hardships come in threes, don't they? I didn't want to get rid of you. I was going to give you a chance till season's beatings to prove me wrong. And what happened? You got yourself fired. Not from one company, not from 2, but 3. And you were even grid champion at one point, weren't you? And that was all taken away because you couldn't keep your head out of the gutters. You couldn't keep out of trouble. Now, since you're in the business of dragging people in that aren't a part of what's going on between you and I, let's talk about that night, shall we? Let's talk about the night that I burned action-packed wrestling to the ground. You see, there was a training session. And there was one individual in particular that was there. And he made an advance. So clown number 1 didn't like it. And while I was working, clown number 1 decided she was going to start raging. And of course, we know people like that always have followers. So clown number 2 decided that she was going to quit as well. And then we come to SMF, who decided that he was going to leave with clown number 1 and clown number 2. And take more than half the roster with them. All because I wouldn't drop what I was doing to take care of his little companion's kiss on the cheek problem. Now, what did I do in response? I burned it all to the ground. And I would do it 1,000 times over rather than trust people like that. Now let me put something through your head, Luca. There is no me in SMF. There is nobody behind me. I did not return to OEW because you thought you hurt my feelings from showing my tweets, which I had no knowledge of, to the fans. And what did that get you? They got you punched in the teeth twice. I tackled your ass at Mind Games, and Sunday, I sent you out of the ring. Now, since we're in the business of putting all the cards on the table, I look forward to what comes next. Because even though I'm part of OEW, I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to make allies. And I still have plenty of fight left in me. So I'm just saying this now, LBA. Even though security had to separate us twice, you want some? You come get yourself some. And I will respond in kind.